Well, we were having an okay day, despite the wind. But now we're not having a very good day. So I was up north, and it sounds like I was up at the bins at the yard. Sounds like Doug had another rock flip up, and I think it was in the brand new canvas we installed yesterday or day before. Day before. And it cooked a hole in it. Sounds like it's still runnable. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. But obviously we've got bigger issues. This is the main drive roller. Inside there, no bueno. Motor down here. It's not, the motor itself is good. The shaft is boobarred. And now we took off the center canvas so that we could get that out, and we found that this guy is pooched. So hopefully we can salvage. I got some parts coming. I don't know, I still haven't got the bastard off yet, but we're working there. I am concerned because there's quite the step down there with some grooves in it, but hopefully that bearing feels really good over there. So Dad's on his way, hopefully back fairly soon. I am trying to figure out the best plan of attack on taking this thing off. But if I'm honest, I bet you that thing wasn't 10 minutes from being a fire. And on a day like today where it's gusting 30 mile an hour and it's 35 degrees, it would have been real bad. We do have the disc here. We did have Dad's truck. It was parked right here. So Dad's truck's got the water kit. Speaking of water, I need some. Still have some. Yeah, I gotta work this problem a bit. Quite the swing in temperature. It was 33 degrees yesterday afternoon. Oh, just got up to 1. So, pretty sure I got the right part. Whether it's left or right side, that's the big question. Picked it up in Redverse last night. Be interesting to see up here. Last night, I'll show you a picture, or once I get to the combines, which is about 4 miles up. But just a few hundred yards on the other side of Hump's yard there, where the bins are, I got hit by a deer last night. It ran into the side of me. I don't see any carcasses. It was right about here, in line with that sign, is where it schmucked me. Ran into the side of my door. I think it was running at me. It was actually coming from that side because I was headed east. There were 3 of them. First 2, I slowed down because I would have hit the second one. I didn't see the third one until the very last second, and it was coming up, and it looked like it tried stopping and wiped out and hit kind of body first right at the bottom of my my door panel and my running board. And then it felt like part of it went under the truck, because I had a bit of a shudder there. So as you can see, that's where Bambi hit me. Pretty much there and there. So it is the right part. You can see that one. That side doesn't look bad. That side looks pretty bad. Very hot. 5 to 10 minutes from a fire was my guess. And definitely had a few flashback dreams about it. This is the exact same thing that happened last year on my FD135. The same bearing, the same failure. Yeah, just very, very fortunate. Very frustrating, but very fortunate. I have seen that somewhere on Facebook, there was a guy who makes a kit that takes these, because part of the reason is these are a pain in the ass to get to grease. That one's not bad. That one points, well, I've dropped down the tray too, so usually it's up higher. It's just a pain in the ass to get to. So I saw one where a guy replaced this with like a 90 or something and a little real small hydraulic hose to a magnetic mount on the back on each side. And that's probably going to happen on both of these headers next year. And now I got to figure out how to put this thing back together. Yeah, she's all back together. Definitely need a new canvas next year. We're right around 400 acres to go. So if we can have a decent day today with no breakdowns, we need about half a day on Saturday to finish up. So we don't need the canvas to last 2,000 acres. It did start the year with this little scratch in it, but it hasn't gotten worse. We've had them where it actually splits and runs as two separate ones. That's not ideal. I am worried a little bit about how this guy is running. We put something together wrong, I just found. Yeah, so I was saying, now I got it corrected, which explains why it was a hell of a time getting it together on this side. You know, we got a punch hole there, we got a bit of a tear there, and like I said, I've seen those separate. Little tear there. So hopefully that's a project for next year. Only 420 acres to go. Everything's struggling right now. This header, Doug's got a burnt through spot on Dad's header. No air conditioning in the Freightliner. Some sort of fuel issue going on the Volvo. Yeah, we're struggling to get to the finish line, but it's in sight. As long as we don't have any significant breakdowns, we should be able to finish by supper time tomorrow. Knock on wood. Good morning, folks. Today is Saturday, September 28th, and with any luck, today's the last day of harvest. And in typical fashion, the finishing is the hard part. Last night, when I was trying to fill this bin, I did fill the bin, but you'll see there's still canola in the hopper. Whoops. I filled the bin with the back compartment of the semi. Got to an okay point. I never got in the top and looked how far down the spout was. I finished the back compartment, or let it run dry, and I got down and I said, wow, surely there's room to just finish opening the gate. Big gates on the Timpty. They usually hold about 40 bushel, 50 bushel if you were to let them run empty from where we operate it. Like on this auger, I think it's 18% on the gates. And so I opened up the gates. I had got to about 70%, and that's where it was going to get to the end of to start spilling. So I said, good enough. And as soon as I hit close, bang, filled the bin, broke the shear bolts. So I need to find some shear bolts. Like you can see, ouch. Yeah. Hopefully I can get that off. Just enough room to get that off. Now, hopefully, I know at one point I put some shear bolts in here. Found them. So we will get that flanged back together. Broken a lot of shear bolts on this thing in the past. You'll notice it doesn't have the never spill spout. We might put one on next year or whenever. This auger does need a little bit of work. You can see the bottom end's kind of rusty and crusty. And I noticed yesterday there's starting to be a crack right there. So the other thing is the bottom flighting here is pretty thin. So I'm thinking this winter I'm going to rip the flighting out, find some new stuff and put it in. And fix that up. But she's in pretty good shape overall. It's just that she has seen a fair bit of fertilizer. And the other thing is, like, there's no seal around this. It's kind of dumb. So you get rain and snow in there and fertilizer, or even fertilizer dust in the bottom, or even grain in general, and then it just holds that and starts rotting. So we'll have to tune that up a little bit. But shear bolts. This is the old style. The new style is much better. It's over here. But the snowblower that's down here is the exact same setup. And I've found that the easiest thing to do once it's broken, put your magnet on. Come on. Usually, just being ignorant today. There. Just pull it out. The other one is probably thrown out because it's on the bottom side. Yeah. And you have to get things lined up. Really hard working one-handed. That side's not bad. The other side, a little more awkward. And then you just get your socket, give her a spin. Same thing on the other side. It's just not grabbing, so I got to wedge my screwdriver in there. This goes a lot faster when I have both hands. I think I got it. Yeah. The other side, I definitely need both hands. Yeah, I would expect it's 8:30 now. Probably no later than 10 we'll get started. And if it's 150 acres, well, let's do quick math. We'll use a 40 foot because it's a nice even number. We've been only averaging about 3 miles an hour. So that's 12 acres an hour out of it. Call it 10. The other one, call it 8. 18 acres an hour. Oof, that's just, everything's laid flat and it's slow chewing. Not chewy, but it's just slow going. So 18 acres an hour, you're talking 6 to 8 hours. So if we get started at 10, should be done by supper time. And then that leaves us a few kochia patches. There's about 1.5 acres right around my uncle's farm here. Oh, got something in my ear. And what we'll do then, well, I'll probably film anyways, but we'll just really open everything up and slow the fans down and you combine an acre or two, and then you go dump somewhere. And you don't do what I did last year, where you combine about 10 acres and have a full hopper full of fluff that won't feed. And that was like, as Dad said it is when I thought of it. I didn't realize how much I was getting. Well, it looks like their Dad's doing the last swipe of his. Dad's down there. Doug's over there with his auger out. So that's, I'm pretty sure that's it for Dad. And I've got 5 or 10 acres on the other, no, 5 acres on my side, and then another 20 or 30, maybe as much as 40 max, but that, I think that's a stretch. About a mile and a half that way. Yeah, he's just got a tiny little bit there. I was just kind of thinking, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time in my 6 years farming that Dad and I are going to be done on the same day. So I was mistaken. Just heard him over the radio. Doug is sitting there because he's done on Dad's, and he didn't have enough room in the cart to empty. So Dad is done harvest. Dad had already dumped, and then he jumped over onto my side. So Dad's harvesting the last of mine. That's what's going on there. I thought Dad just had one last swipe, and that's why Doug was sitting around waiting. So I will, I'll take what sounds like there's only like 80 bushel left on the combine, and hopefully it all fits in the bin. It'll be tight, and then we'll finish mine. Still got 2 hours before supper. So we still got 2 hours before supper. Let's go combine some more. Oh.
Just because it is supposed to rain Monday, so.
Yeah. Get the thick of it off.
What?
Get the thick of it off. Well, that's the end of her for this year. I'd say Dad's canola was pretty average. Mine was below.